Hello and welcome to the 741 channel. Thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to take a look at my homemade tilt-over antenna mast. The problem with this today is, you may be able to see as I pan up, is that it is bent about halfway up. We had a pretty good windstorm a few weeks ago and it finally bent. So what I'm going to do is replace that bottom section of mast with a new piece that I happen to have on hand. So I built this antenna mast about 2 years ago now, and I never ended up making a video about it until now. So I'll just kind of go through the basic construction. So what I did is I dug a hole about 2.5, maybe 3 feet deep, I don't remember now, basically as far down as I could get until I hit a large boulder. And then I put a sonotube in, and then I put these two outer pieces of pipe in. These are actually just pieces, I think, of 1-inch diameter electrical conduit. They're pretty rigid, nice thick wall, and they are about 8 feet long. Well, no, actually I think they were 10 feet long because there's about 2 feet down in the sonotube. So anyway, I put these in and I made up some spacers out of wood to keep them sort of parallel and separated. And then I put them in the sonotube, filled the sonotube up with some quickrete, and let it all cure. And then I put in my center piece, which is a piece of chain link fence top rail. This also is about 10 feet long, and there's two pieces put together, so it makes it about a 20-foot mast. Now you should be able to see down here at the bottom, I've got a bolt that goes through. There's another one up here in the middle of the pipe, and then there's one up at the top. And that holds it all together and keeps the antenna up. So the idea is that I should be able to loosen any two of these bolts, and then the whole thing can kind of pivot on the one that's left in place. Now today we're going to have to take all three out because we're going to need to change this bottom pipe since it's bent. As you can see there, I had a little trouble with the ladder. I didn't have it aimed quite right. And the antenna itself is now hitting that small tree over there. I don't know if that was in the way when I put this up 2 years ago, but it is now. So we'll have to work around that a little bit. But what I want to try and do now is divorce the antenna from the bottom pole. But I think what I'm going to do is remove those two radial arms on the lower side of the antenna, just so they don't get bent or ruined. So I think we're at a good spot here now. I should be able to separate the two poles. For whatever reason, that last bolt on there is a different size, so gotta go get a different size wrench. As you can see, I've got the two poles apart, and now I should be able just to unbolt the lower pole from the mast there, and it's free. We can get rid of it. Okay, so there's the bent pipe. I guess we can get rid of that. Here's a look at the replacement pipe, and you can see that it's pretty much the same thing, except that this was painted a little bit on the lower end. This was given to me by a friend who was using it for a test pole, but he didn't need it anymore, so we're going to put it in place here. So I'm running out of time for today, but I have the pole sort of temporarily in place, and I'm getting ready to drill the holes that I'll need to drill in order to kind of mount it to the side rails. And one thing that I did this time that I didn't do when I first built this was I put these hose clamps on to kind of hold everything together and keep everything in place while I'm drilling through it. So hopefully that'll help a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it would be nice to keep everything straight. Now I ended up putting one right there in the middle, and then there's one sort of up there near the top. I would put a third one on the bottom, but I don't have a third one, and I think it's going to be okay anyway. Okay, so now I'm going to try and get the holes drilled in the pipe so that we can get the bolts through. So I've got the first hole through the center of all the pipes. I'm going to put that bolt in now just to help secure everything. So now I'll drill the bottom hole. Last up, we got to do the top hole and top bolt. Okay, so you can see there I got it through with a little bit of persuasion, but it marred up the threads on the end of that bolt a little bit, so I probably should have opened that hole up a little more just to give it some clearance. But the original holes that I drilled in there weren't quite straight, and then when I tried to match up the other one, it just got a little bit more crooked. So either way, I think we're okay. The nut will chase those threads clean when I put it all back together. But for now, what I'm going to do is take the top bolt and the middle bolt back out, remove the hose clamps, and tilt this over so we can connect it up to the second pipe and ultimately the antenna. As you can see, I've got the bottom pipe unbolted and tilted over. It's ready to accept the top pipe. So let's put those together. So you can see I've got the pipes together. Now before I drill the holes and bolt the two pipes together, I'm going to put those other two radial arms on the bottom of this antenna just to kind of balance it out. Right now it's a little lopsided and it wants to keep kind of listing off to one side. So okay, so you can see I've got the top pole and the antenna supported on that ladder there. And then over here you can see I've tipped over the other ladder and shimmed it under the pole to try and keep everything sort of even. It's not going to be perfect, but it should be close. So now what we're going to do is there are the existing holes in the top pipe to accept the bolts, but we'll need to drill them into the bottom pipe. So we'll just do that now and then we should be able to bolt it together. So what I ended up doing was drilling sort of the horizontal hole first. I put the bolt through to hold the pipes so they wouldn't twist, and then I drilled the top hole. So now I'm just going to put the top bolt in and we'll tighten them both up, and then we should be able to stand this up. I think we've got everything bolted together and ready to go, so I'm going to stand this thing up now. Well, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but for whatever reason that middle set of holes changed alignment on me and I couldn't quite get the bolt through, so I'm going to need to fine-tune that with the drill. That middle bolt gave me a little bit of trouble, but I've got it all set now. Everything seems like it's together the way it should be and fairly straight for what it is. So I think all that's left is to tie the coax off to the pole with some zip ties and just check the bolts one more time, make sure everything's tight, pick the tools up, and I think we're done. Well, that's pretty much going to wrap up repairing my homemade tilt-over antenna mast. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to leave a comment or subscribe, feel free to do that as well. Thanks for watching.